Hey, what up, everybody? Steve Breach coming to you tonight. More than likely, we're going to be seeing the last of Mark Henry. Mark Henry has been on Twitter. He is a guy that has an account. He uses it sparingly. And over the last night, he has been basically saying that it is time for him to hang up his boots. Goes on to the point of saying, that even the people that loved him and hated him, he was always there for you. He appreciates all of us, and good or bad, he will always live with us fans forever. He's saying that he is going to be going in front of the crowds of Grand Rapids to say goodbye to everybody tomorrow. And the one point that he even goes on to say is that Father Time is undefeated. Mark Henry, there is a small thing that he could be working as. He is a guy that doesn't really use Twitter all that much. He's had an account for a few years. He just has just over 900 tweets. Posts a lot of pictures of him in personal moments. I don't really see him going on here to work us that bad, but maybe he does go out there to try and make some sort of retirement speech. Ryback, really doesn't have an opponent because everybody's saying that they're going to go with John Cena versus Daniel Bryan at the next pay-per-view at Money in the Bank. Maybe Ryback needs an opponent. Maybe, Ryback hasn't won a pay-per-view match in forever. The closest he's come is when he was about to shell-shock Mark Henry at WrestleMania. Mark Henry was able to grab the ropes, and that led him to fall on top of Ryback for the 1-2-3. Maybe Ryback will, challenge Mark Henry, turning him babyface, and they can go on and work a pay-per-view match from there. But if this is the last of Mark Henry, I mean, just what a career this guy has had. Basically, if you followed wrestling, your whole life like I have, you remember the 1996 Mark Henry that came in. I was just watching the SummerSlam 1996 pay-per-view that he signed, and he came in. He was working the announcing booth for some match, and he ends up getting involved in the match near the end. You can tell that he's a wrestling fan, but he has no idea what he's doing there. And he would come in wearing the red, white, and blue as the strong weightlifter guy. And it took years and years for him to find his spot, even when he went to the Nation of Domination. And he was just there to stand in the background and look big and bad. They really didn't know what to do with him. They put a few singles titles on him to carry him along the way. One of them, D'Lo Brown, just handed him and said, "Here, this is your title now, take this." They put the sexual chocolate roll on him. They went through a lot of things with him and Mae Young. A lot of people said that they were only doing that just to get rid of him. Vince was trying to embarrass him to the point of him getting fired. But that 10-year deal that he signed was probably the most money that he'd ever had. And more money than he was going to make anywhere. So he strung it out and he went all the way through it. If you go through his tweets back on the 9th, he says that the only reason he's not appearing for WWE is that he is dangerous, and he is pissed off at the point that he feels like he can't hold himself back, and he would attack somebody. If he did this, he would go to jail. I can't think of anybody in WWE that he would be that mad at, but obviously he has his reasons. If you can go back to what led to Bobby Lashley's departure from there, Mark Henry was very, very upset at this also, was some foul language that Doc Hendricks, I guess you can say, said. And Michael Hayes, who's the lead writer of SmackDown, I guess dropped the N-bomb in the back of the locker room a few times, and this was not well taken by a lot of the wrestlers that were in the room. I wouldn't see him being that dumb to use that language again, but that honestly is about the only thing I can think of that would push Mark Henry to that point where he says he's so furious that it is the point he has to hold back his career. The one thing that did come out of that is they were able to talk Mark Henry from coming back. He was at the point he was going to quit then. He even got pushed to the point where he became the World Heavyweight Champion back in 2011. I believe it was at Vengeance when he beat Randy Orton. That was a moment that honestly, the people that even didn't like Mark Henry at the time really, just had to stand up and say thank you, because that was like one of the last moments of wrestling that just really shocked everybody and didn't see anything coming. There's so many times that people say, I'm sick of seeing guys like John Cena get pushed to the top and just stay there forever. I want to see something new. I want to see something fresh, and Mark Henry was that guy. We've only been a handful of first-time champions, for WWE in the last few years, and Mark Henry's moment was, if you go back and watch it, I don't know where they was for that pay-per-view, but everybody stood up and applauded that guy. Like I said, if this is the end of Mark Henry, he had a career that I think everybody is more than likely going to remember for a little bit, even if it is for the bad things that happened. But I'm always going to remember that Mark Henry that first debuted in the red, white, and blue, and just how far that guy came. If Coco could be where it can be in the Hall of Fame, anybody can be there. But honestly, in my opinion, Mark Henry does deserve to be some part of the Hall of Fame just for how far that guy came. You have to give him like the most improved wrestler of all time, I think you would say. But how far they took him with just so little. I mean, by the time he retired, he was one of those guys you honestly feared. He might be one of the guys that they threw at Undertaker during the whole streak when it meant something that didn't mean anything. But what a damn good career for Mark Henry, and hopefully he hangs it up in good fashion on Monday Night Raw tonight.